everyone, welcome back to the Tech Coaches podcast. I'm Fer, and I'm here with the king of shortcuts, Inbox Zero, and rules. Bill.
Hey Fer, I do what I can. The main point is having less stress about managing email, whether it's at home or at work or both. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, this episode is Mastering Your Inbox. If you ever felt overwhelmed by emails, this one is for you. Whether you're sitting on 27 or 27,000 emails, we've seen it, and we'll walk you through how to get things under control and really fast.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk about strategies, tools, and some habits that are pretty easy to form and stick. We will also, after this individual video podcast, I'm going to show some videos that are these tips in action. So there will be another video following this one, and when it's done, we'll put that in the description.
Okay, let's be honest. Emails can feel a bit endless.
Yes, so we got things that sometimes make us feel out of control. And again, personal or business email or the combination of both. Emails come from clients, coworkers, family members, your cousin's Etsy store, and then all the people that you've unsubscribed from that just mistakenly, quote unquote, resubscribe you to a newsletter you've already unsubscribed from. It just all adds up.
And the results? Missing deadlines, mental clutter, anxiety every time you open your email, or just avoiding it altogether.
Yeah, and you deserve better. One of the themes that we have about the business is to make sure that we make IT as easy as a light switch. And since so many people spend a ton of time in their inbox, whether it's on their phone or on a computer or an iPad, email should not ruin your day. It should actually be very easy, and you should be in charge of your mail.
With a few simple systems and routines, that is possible. You can clear your inbox, keep up with the replies, and actually breathe again.
Yeah, so we've got, this is our new section, biggest inbox mistakes. So we're going to start with what not to do. I've got 5 items that are here. We could add probably 50 more items of what not to do and what to do. But we're going to hit 5 key items. So number 1, and I say this because the majority of the people come to us and they have never archived. So you need to archive your mail, or at least put it in an area where it's not in your inbox. So if you keep everything in your inbox, it's like a digital hoarding. Number 2, if you keep your inbox as a to-do list, that is a recipe for failure. You're always going to feel like you're behind. You're going to miss a few things. So one of the things that we recommend is making sure that you're using either a task management tool, if it's something that is definitely task-related, or you turn it into a calendar appointment where you blocked off time to work on the subject of that email, or potentially just a well-crafted response. So make sure to do that. And if you use Outlook, you can even right-click and turn an email into an appointment. The other things, number 3, no rules or folders. If you're scrolling endlessly just through all the junk and the spam and everything that comes in, you could very easily get rid of all of that by putting rules in place. So, for example, one that lots of people have heard about is the one where if you're on the CC line, you move it into a different folder. Because if a mail message is not sent directly to you, then you're not necessarily required or even expected to respond to that message. So for some people who receive a lot of email, I would set a rule up that says if I'm CC'd on this, then move it into a special folder. That would immediately start cleaning up inbox for heavy email users. Number 4, leaving your notifications on 24/7. And that's a big one. And unfortunately, some of these systems will require you to turn those notifications, both audio and also on screen, off on each device where you check your mail. Unfortunately, that is not synchronized. So I would definitely do that. It takes about 10 minutes to do it. But if you've got those notifications on, number 1, it's going to bug you and you could lose concentration on whatever you're working on. And the other thing, which might be a bigger deal, is it could be a little embarrassing if you've got the mail preview on your little pop-up. Maybe there's some things you don't want coming on that screen. And then number 5 is checking your mail constantly. More is not better. More is stress. If you add in the text messages that you get and your mobile phone calls, maybe a desk phone call, all that's turning you into is a switchboard operator, and you can't actually think or concentrate on anything that requires what I would call higher human or higher brain function, because all you're doing is just rapidly responding to messages.
And if that sounds familiar, Don't worry. We've all been there.
Yes.
Okay, myth busting time. Inbox zero doesn't always mean no emails.
Correct. Yeah. What it means is you've got mail coming in and you've got to figure out what to do with it. So we think that if you have a to-do folder, an archive folder, and a waiting folder, along with some other special folders for things like maybe your health, if it's a personal email, bank info, et cetera, again, on the personal side, or you've got folders for your clients if it's on the business side, that's what's there. And we're going to explain some of those in just a few minutes.
And it's not only about deleting emails,
Right.
It's also about organizing.
Yeah, and clarity. So you want to know what's done, what's pending, and what you don't even need to read, and that's where those rules really come in, because there are some newsletters I absolutely cannot get unsubscribed from, and I've got a rule to send them directly to the deleted items, or I block them.
All right, let's break it down. Our 5-step method to mastering your inbox. The first step will be to create 3 core folders, or more if needed. The first one will be a to-do folder. This will be for emails that require action. But these are the things that you don't need to block time on your calendar for. An example would be if it's something quick that you can reply to while batching your email, then put them on this folder. But if it's something that requires more time and concentration, then make it an appointment on your schedule. The next one would be waiting, and this one would be for stuff that you're waiting a reply for. And the third one we recommend would be archive, and this will be for everything else. The archives can be general, so it could be like a client folder, or they can be more specific for certain items or clients that have reached a certain age or could be needed in the future.
Yes, and then I'm going to add a fourth one in there for specific items that you might want to call out visually for yourself, and sometimes they're plain folders, and sometimes they're what's called a smart folder, where I could say like any email from you goes into a folder called Fernanda. So those sometimes can be important. Again, it depends on how you use your email, but the key is consistency. And so that's why we're recommending these core 3, and then you build out the remainder as needed. Now, when we get to the second item, this is one that I think, because I've said it 3 times so far in the video, that drives me insane. I believe you should unsubscribe weekly, whether it's taking 5 minutes on a Friday to go through mail that you hopefully have set rules up to go into a particular area, things like newsletters, maybe mail from certain people that don't need to be responded to right away, or I think I get those will advance your business credit, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how many of those I get per day. So I generally block those people once they come in, but if it's a newsletter and it's something that I got a few years ago, or someone, because I mistakenly clicked something and I got subscribed to a newsletter, I think you should unsubscribe weekly. And then if for some reason that unsubscribe does not work, then I would just block. And you can do that with your rules. Or if you're using something like the free Gmail, you just right-click that ellipsis that's on the right-hand side and you choose block sender, and Gmail will block them for you.
So this is where we go to the third step, that is use rules.
Yes.
So auto-label newsletters, file receipts, and tag important people and items using these rules. An example would be bank statements, health documents, or emails, and you could even tag important clients. That way you can always keep track of those emails in a faster way.
Yes. And then our fourth item is to batch your time. Now, this is really job position dependent. So my comment mainly applies for people who are working in an organization. And if your job is to respond to inbound emails and process them, then you're going to have to check it constantly. But for a lot of folks, once you reach a certain level in the organization, you're going to have to batch time. You're going to be in meetings. So we suggest picking 2 to 3, maybe even 4 times a day where you check your mail. And outside of that, you close your mail application or just don't look at it if you've got that level of discipline. The reason why is because if those emails come in and you know that that's open, you might have a tendency to go over there and look at it. And some companies, they have instant messaging systems now, and we could probably do a whole session on that one as well, like Teams and Slack and some other tools. But batching it is really important to keep your sanity and lower that anxiety.
And the fifth step we will recommend is set boundaries. You can use autoresponders, signature notes, and turn off push notifications to protect your focus.
Yes. Now, there is one note. I feel like this is one of the notes that you put in when it's like a disclaimer at the beginning of a video. But for those of you who are operating in a corporation, one thing that's really important is to know whether your company has a document retention policy and whether the IT team is already doing some of this for you. For example, if you have a document retention policy, it might say that your mail, and I think there's one very large company that after mail has been sent or received within 30 days, it is removed. It is deleted. Okay? Sometimes that's for legal reasons. Sometimes it's just because they've got so much storage that they are using, they don't want to add any more. So the document retention policy is really important. Take a look at it. If you've got like an HR handbook or an employee handbook, look at that. If not, your HR team probably has it or your IT team probably has it. And then the other one is when you work with a corporate IT team, they're probably already archiving some of your mail, backing it up and things like that. They probably are not setting up rules for you. So if you need help like that, reach out to them or reach out to HR if you need any training or give us a call. That's what we're here for.
Okay, now that we share the how-to, it's time for some horror stories.
Yes.
So the first story, I like to call it the $8,000 missed email. So a client got a really important email one day and missed it because it got lost under spam. She found it 3 weeks later, and it turns out it was an urgent bulk order that could have given profits of around $8,000. But when she found it, it was already too late.
Yeah. So one caveat here is that if it's an existing client that's placing an order like that, you might get a phone call when they go, hey, you haven't replied to my order. But if it's a brand new client or brand new customer opportunity, then you can't necessarily control what's going to end up in your inbox. But what you can do is you can set up rules and filters for things like that are order related, for keywords, dollar amounts, things like that. So filters and labels could have saved this woman or actually earned this woman thousands. So any existing clients that you have or other high priority people, and again, personal or professional. So if it's personal, you might want to make sure that if you have a person who is maybe in a health situation, you want to make them high priority because something may pop up. If you've got existing clients, especially your VIP clients, maybe some other executives in your company, you can set those with rules to automatically go to the top of your inbox or actually change the color of the email, bold it, notify you, etc. So what you want to do is remember you're not in charge of who ends up in spam all the time, but for those people where you do have contact information, I would definitely set up rules for them so you're always aware. And funny story, I've even got one client that I had years ago in another position that when he emails me personally, because I've got his personal work email, it still pops up on my phone as a VIP message coming from that particular person. So it is possible and it's very easy to do. It's not a very hard thing. So if you've got questions, just reach out. Now this is our second story. Reply all-again, like Armageddon. Okay, so this, unfortunately, is very common, and it happens a lot with companies. This nonprofit happened to email about 300 people. So instead of actually sending it the proper way, which I'll discuss in a second, just put everyone on the CC line. Now, that obviously showed not only everyone's email address in there, but it also had a lot of people replying, and many people reply all. So by day 3, people were begging to be dropped from that list. And honestly, that's a little egg on the face of the person sending because they weren't really educated or didn't educate him or herself how to properly send mail. And so, Fer, why don't you talk about a few of the options for that?
So we have a few suggestions for this situation. The first one would be if it's only a few people on a core work team, then you can put them on the to area and remind them to reply all so everyone stays in the loop. This would be your recommendation if you don't use a system like Microsoft Teams or Slack with an internal group in your organization. The second one would be if it's a group that is around 300 people, and there's a new mail feature called Merge in Outlook that will allow you to add all the people to the to area and then choose the drop down next to the send button, and there's an option that is called merge. Each person will get his or her own copy of the message, and if they reply, you will be the only one getting that response. And the last one would be for a group around 300 or larger, you should consider using a dedicated email sending tool. Some people call these email blasts, but we prefer to avoid that phrase.
Yes.
If you need examples of professional mass email systems, just let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, and before we hit our third story, I will say part of this depends on whether the communication is internal or external. If it's internal, systems like Teams and Slack are really good. An accidental, like if you're working on a team of 5, you could CC them, that's not a big deal. But when you get into the numbers like 300 and you've got a mixed audience of internal, external people, or if it's entirely external, I would really encourage you to use that merge feature that is now in Outlook, or use a professional email system, because these professional email systems will also help keep you in compliance with laws for your country, like data privacy and how to opt out, unsubscribe, etc. So if you get any questions about those, reach out to us and we can make some recommendations for you depending on how you intend to use it.
And the third story is the accidental application. One of our clients meant to forward a resume with a snarky comment to a coworker, but when she hit the response, she do reply instead of forward, so it was sent back to the applicant.
Yes, and so naturally, you can imagine a snarky comment on a resume. The person probably wasn't going to get the job, but in a corporate situation like that, when someone does that, naturally they're going to want to reach out and have a very awkward conversation, whether it's via email or phone, with that applicant, because especially in the U.S., as litigious as it is, you don't want to end up with someone saying something bad about you. So that's a definite CYA situation.
And this is where we go to our recommendation. It will be to always double check before hitting send. And almost all modern mail systems now have a timer from 1 to 20 seconds so you can recall a message. This will work great in case you did as our client did in this case and send a message before checking it out and making sure that everything was correct.
Yes, for sure. Now we've got a couple of real life before and after things, which is really nice. It's a business owner drowning in about 9,000 emails, never really archived, didn't know how to use the tools because, as we've mentioned before, lots of folks that we talk to, they have made this investment in the tech and they just never bothered to learn how to use it. And so things were being missed. Emails were coming in and they were basically just going down because lots of mail was coming in on a regular basis. Now, I'm not going to get into the delegation management tools or anything like that, but from a tech standpoint, there are some things that happened that made life a little bit easier.
After 2 weeks of patching, using the rules, and also auto-sorting, she told us, I finally feel in control again.
Yes, and that's the magic of the clear, organized inbox. It's time, energy, less anxiety, less stress, and you can really focus on what you should be doing, which is in a corporate environment, helping your company make money, take care of customers, vendors, etc., other coworkers. If it's at home, you don't have to worry about missing notifications about someone's little league baseball game or something like that that's coming up. So having the clear, organized inbox is really, really important.
And this is where we go to our final takeaway. Your inbox is not your enemy. It is a tool, and you deserve to master it.
Yes. So we encourage you to start with small steps. In my mind, you start by setting up rules, because that is the fastest way to trim the amount of incoming email. And once those rules are set up, you're going to set some more boundaries, like I'm going to only check this certain times of the day. And then all of a sudden, over the course of the next few weeks, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable using your mail. Hopefully it causes less stress and anxiety, because I know people that actually don't want to open their mail at all because it's just overwhelming mentally for them.
And also, if you want help setting your folders, rules, or just figuring out a better workflow, you can hit the link on the description below.
Yes.
We got a free inbox assessment waiting for you.
Yeah.
And also, if you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. And also, if you want to see more of the tips and tricks like this, like I'm going to make a video about how some of these rules can be set up. We'll amend that and put a link here and then also on our article section of our site. I do really want you to subscribe to the channel because I'm getting more feedback from folks now saying, hey, this is really good stuff. But if you need an overall review of your systems, whether it's an individual person, which I did help someone yesterday, and it was, oh my gosh, I'm now secure. I know what I need to do. You can sign up for a trial with our tools. And what happens is we'll analyze how you use your data, the security of your system or systems if it's multiple computers, and also how you handle automation and how you can use IT to actually make life a little easier. So it's super easy. We want to make it as easy as flipping a light switch so you can essentially get your time back, which may mean money in some situations, but 9 times out of 10, it means easier and happier life.
Until next time, keep
Yes.
it tidy and keep it smart.
Yes. Thanks.